Teaching your kids to focus on what's within their control and investing with delayed gratification in mind, those are two ways that are really going to make your kids successful in the long run.
This is one of the top skills a kid can actually learn in all areas.
Smart money parenting.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Smart Money Parenting. We got Chad in the pink and Scott in the red. We got Easter colors. It's not even
That's
Easter.
right. It's close. We're getting there.
I think you like pink because it highlights your eyes.
Thank you. I have blue eyes, but thank you.
You got the salt and pepper and the blue eyes. You definitely look like a surfer. I love it.
Appreciate it.
Well, we're here today to talk about investing, all things investing and thinking long-term with your kids. Do your kids have a mindset of delayed gratification? Do they have a mindset where they take responsibility for their future? Are they prepared to invest? Gen Z is the least invested generation in history if you compare them to other generations at the same age. That is something we need to discuss. Okay. And then behind Generation Z is Gen Alpha, which is even going to be, if we keep going in that direction, they're going to blow all their money on crypto and hate the market. So
I can't even keep up with all these gens, by the way, all these gens. I don't even know. I mean, I'm glad you know this stuff.
Well, after Gen X and millennials, I think it just kind of gets crazy from there. But they're going to run the world here in the next decade, so we might as well parent them well.
I think the marshmallow experiment, as old school as it is just a great example of like delayed gratification. Like you put the kid in a room and you're like, here's a marshmallow. You got, I don't know, I don't remember what it was, Harvard study, but it's like if it's 5 minutes, if you wait 5 minutes, you're going to get a second marshmallow. Or you can eat this one right now and just have one, whatever you want. And the kids who ate the marshmallow and the experiment was over, and they were done. You know, the kids who waited and as they stared at it, some of them picked it up and looked at it. They probably smelled it. It's like, I could really eat this right now. But those who waited and showed that they could be a little patient, they were rewarded with more. And as simple as an example as that is, it's teaching our kids that if you can be patient, you can gain more. And that lesson is something that you could teach a 3-year-old. You don't have to wait till they're 17 to understand it. Now, if they're 16 or 17, like my older kids, like you can teach a lot about investment, delayed gratification and compounding interest and all these things, which we're going to get into. But the concept is the same. You can have your cake now, or you can be patient and have a lot more than just one slice of cake. So what's your ultimate goal? Is it short-term gratification or is it long-term fulfillment? Like there's a big difference.
Well, we got to go back to this Stanford Marshmallow study for a minute. I actually did a deep dive in the book. So Value Creation Kids is coming out. It's our big book launch here. I found a couple things. I've read all the studies and you nailed it with, here's a marshmallow or a cookie. They got to choose. And if you wait, it was like 15 minutes, you get more. Well, there was two things I realized in doing this deep dive. They actually tracked these kids for like decades. And the difference is astounding. GPA, teen pregnancy, drug use, income from jobs, like steady families,
financial success, lifetime success, all that stuff, right?
It was staggering. Like it was literally like two sides of the spectrum. Like you could literally make that one choice. That one choice actually dictates how you live your life.
It kind of shows who you are. Like, am I the kind of person who's thinking long-term or do I just want to eat the marshmallow?
That's right. The thing that I found most interesting about this study though, was that they filmed the kids and you saw kids when they left the room. You saw kids literally twiddling their thumbs, like just trying to look away from the marshmallow. You saw kids turning around, facing the wall, just so they wouldn't look at that marshmallow. Some kids took that marshmallow and put it under the desk.
Oh, smart.
Just to like get it out of their mind. And there was a follow-on study that a psychologist did from this experiment and said, you know what? What I learned from this as a psychologist is the key to delayed gratification and investing is set a habit and then stick to it. without this need for immediate gratification at all. When you create the habit, like I'm not even going to go for the thing right now. I'm going to get it out of my mind and I'm just going to delay gratification and invest and focus on that habit rather than trying to have the picture of the thing I want right now and just trying to get myself not to want it. Right? Like some people like, I want this truck. So I'm going to post that picture of the truck right here. So all they want is that truck.
Right.
You know what you should do is be like, okay, so I'm going to be the type of person that invests X% of my money, regardless of what I want to do with it. I'm going to invest for this, and I'm going to not even get the thing in my mind that I want to buy or the immediate gratification picture in my mind. I want to get it out of my mind and just discipline of being an investment-minded person. Does that make sense? That was the key takeaway I got from this study, because that makes so much sense. You know, it's way easier to delay gratification when you don't have the immediate desire focused right in your mind at that very moment.
Yeah, it reminds me of a book written by Dr. Benjamin Hardy, our mutual friend, that says willpower doesn't work. And it's like, if you rely on willpower alone, you're eventually going to give in to the temptations. So being a smart money parent and teaching your kids how to invest for the long term is not easy. Delayed gratification is something that even most adults struggle with, but it will make all the difference in the world if in your money management success, if you can learn to not give in to the short-term temptations and to actually think more long-term and think more about the future than you are about this present moment.
Yep, that's it, man. And that's why we early on in Gravy Stack, you know, we have our money machine with the save, spend, and share accounts. Well, the save account is actually in part investing as well, because you don't want kids to just save money to go blow it all on something. You want kids to earn, like, save for the long haul. So we actually split the save account into investing and then saving for a goal. Like a quick goal could be a small thing, or like a car or college, or like big goals, anything over like $500. And so the kids are consistently saving over the long term to understand delayed gratification. But then that investing box, you're just plugging it away, right? Like they set a percentage automatically to go to every jar for every dollar they make. So they know that if I make $10, I can't spend all $10. I have $1 of it going into share, or whatever they decide, or I have $3 of it going into save, and maybe that gets split and a couple bucks are invested forever. And I can only spend like 6 of them. So the kids are starting to learn these investing delayed gratification habits from the get-go.
That's habit building, that's why Gravy Stack is so successful with kids and parents, is that you can really make good decisions that create habits long term, and the discipline is actually like built into the infrastructure of the game for the kids. Like you learn what is a good long-term decision, and then you build some parameters, and then off you go. I think that's a great way to really set kids up for success. That's
right. So one of the big questions, like parents, we're going to get this a lot. So what do I invest in? You know, parents aren't, we're not just talking about how to teach your kids to invest. You're the role model. What do you invest in as a parent? Right. So talk about that let's just get into investing for parents for a minute.
Yeah, I think it's important for parents first is that something I talk to people about from the very beginning, from a young age, you know, their adult college children, is like, invest a portion of every paycheck that you earn. And the resistance is, well, I can't. I need all the money for my bills. And my response is, your bills are too high. Like you should be investing and paying your future self before you're paying your bills. Well, I can't cut any bills. Everything I have is a need. I bet it's not. I bet if we looked at your cable bill, all of your subscriptions, which by the way, Gravy Stack can help you with, if we looked at your cell phone bill, if we looked at all these other things you're paying for, there's some room to cut and be smarter so that you can force yourself to invest a little bit of every paycheck. Now, what should you invest in? That depends really on your age and stage of life and your goals. But I'll just say this, the habit of investing in something that's for long-term growth is critical to your financial success in the future. So if you're investing nothing, you're really going to have nothing in the future. You have to be planting seeds today if you want to have the trees that create the shade and the fruit and the comfort in the future in retirement. or in your 60s or 70s. Like you can't suddenly plant seeds when you're 65 years old and expect them to grow into trees in time. The greatest advantage you have as an investor is time. So the earlier you start investing and planting seeds, the sooner those trees will grow. And other investing analogies I talk about in my books are essentially there's going to be storms when the economy is struggling and the investment markets are down. And that's like winter when all the leaves fall off and there's no fruit. It's very tempting to uproot your tree and just set it on the side of the house and say, I'm not going to replant this until things look sunnier and it's springtime again. But obviously you wouldn't do that, right? Because you're ripping your tree out every single winter. You can't really replant it after things are, blossoming and blooming. So teaching kids to invest for the long run and then staying invested during hard times is the most critical investing lesson you can give kids. And the two growth focused areas to invest in are obviously the stock market and real estate markets. Those are the two areas to access. The easiest way to access those are in financial accounts through what's called ETFs, exchange traded funds. Certainly talk with a financial planner, financial advisor, and get help on this. I wouldn't suggest you do it yourself, but there are a lot of resources out there for small beginner investors. You can teach kids to do these things. The important principles of investing are invest early and invest often. Every time you get a paycheck, you should be taking some money out of that and planting seeds for your future. So teach your kids, hey, you know what? Out of every paycheck, I'm investing money into my retirement plan, or I'm investing money into a college account. I'm investing, in other words, I'm doing something to help my future self. I'm not just blowing all the money I have today out of every single paycheck. Spending your entire paycheck is the equivalent of eating the entire marshmallow right when the examiner walks out of the room. So next time you spend your entire paycheck, just picture that. I want you to actually just take out a fat jumbo marshmallow and just stuff your face with it, because that's what you're doing with your money.
Like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, like a little 5-year-old, get all sticky in your face with that marshmallow. But really, like if you say you cannot invest anything, I would challenge you and say either you've got to figure out a way to earn more money or cut some of your expenses down.
This is a critical one, man. Everyone I talk to in the market is like, oh, it's bad right now, I'm not going to invest. Oh, it's crazy right now, you got to get in. Like that's what I hear all the time. It's like a roller coaster. And this is a difficult conversation to a lot of people. Even myself, I struggle. You and I have had these conversations. It's like the recession, inflation, China, Russia, tech, crypto, all these potential problems. Who's president? Who's not president? And people, it's very difficult for people to have a long-term view of the market in the future and a long-term view of what the market's done in the past. Now, the past is not always a predictor of the future, but if you have the ability to have delayed gratification, you immediately get yourself out of the weeds and into the macro so that you can see your future self clearly, right? So how would you deal with this? How would you think about this when you are like a parent that's like, man, I'm really struggling. I got some big decisions to make. My kids are getting older. I got to plan for this. Like, how do I get myself to think that way? Because we both know that compounding interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Like it is an unbelievably powerful thing. Living off the interest, living off of passive income, living off of the dividends of the decades of investing that you've done is one of the most freeing things on the planet when it comes to finances. But how do you get your mindset right so that you can weather those storms?
Well, financial freedom is only possible when you're spending less than you make. And that is true no matter what stage of life you're in. And investing success is always goal-based and planning driven. It's not, failed investing is market outlook based. It's like guessing and timing and wondering, what's the next storm and reading the news headlines and getting caught up in the emotions. So regardless of how much money you actually have, you've got to learn to practice long-term discipline and focus on what you can control. There's too many things you cannot control that are really just distractions. You can control whether you eat that marshmallow or whether you wait. You can control how much you spend, how much you invest. You can control your debt, how much you borrow, the things that you make money decisions on every month, that's within your control. You could actually cut bills and invest more if you wanted to. So teaching your kids to focus on what's within their control and investing with delayed gratification in mind, those are two ways that are really going to make your kids successful in the long run. Being a smart money parent is not consuming, and stacking up bills without thinking about the long-term future and the financial burden that you're going to put on your future self. That's definitely not the path.
Well, I'll tell you what I think. I feel like delayed gratification isn't just about money. It's about a way of living, right?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Think of relationships for a minute, right? You've been married for 20 years. I've been married for 11 years. Things get rocky, things get difficult. And when things get difficult in a relationship, if you don't have a delayed gratification mindset, you're not going to make it. You're going to want the immediate fix, the immediate separation, the immediate whatever it is.
Yeah, you can't pick up your ball and go home every time you're upset.
You can't. If you're in a sports game, like you're behind, like if you want to actually make it to the championship, guess what? You have to sacrifice long before that as a team to be fit, to work out, to get in the gym, to really build like your team, like leadership and camaraderie, to then get to the championship down the line to get the big medal, right? So this delayed gratification is everywhere. This is one of the top skills a kid can actually learn in all areas, right? Like you can't be the best kid in the class. And if you're not the best kid, you either give up or cry or blame somebody else.
Right.
If you want to be one of the top kids in your class, that takes delayed gratification. You have to probably skip the video games, skip the outings, the fun things, skip some of the play time to actually dive in and be working hard to grow your skill set and get smarter, right? Like you have to have delayed gratification if you want to be successful.
There's a reason it works though, because you're going to get way more in the long run. So it's not sacrificing for nothing. It's like if you invest $100 today and you're 20 years old, that's like investing $10,000 when you're 60 years old. So the money that you invest at a younger age is worth so much more than the money you invest at a later age. So there are great rewards for this patience. It's not without any kind of like treasure at the end of the rainbow. There's a light at the end of this tunnel. Like delayed gratification is going to get you better than what you could get today. So you can take the satisfaction of the short-term fix or the short-term spending, but if you teach your kids that they're going to have so much more if they can be patient, then you're instilling some principles and values in there that, like you said, Scott, are going to help you in other areas of your life for sure.
Yeah, and if you can find something that you don't need that you're buying every day or week or month right now, and sacrifice that for the long term and start investing it, whether it's the coffee or with a subscription or whatever you're doing, take that and talk to your kids about it. Hey, mom and dad are going to do this because we want to invest in the long run. Because if we do this, then by the time you're 28 years old, it's going to be worth this much. And that is going to give us a lot more freedom in the future, right? I saw the stat of like, if a teenager starts putting in $10, every week or month, if to get the same amount when they're 70, someone in their 20s has to put in twice as much. Someone in their 30s, 4 times as much. Someone in their 40s, 8 times as much. Someone in their 50s, like 30 or 40 times as much to get the same return. And so time is truly the best asset that a kid has. And they can use that wisely to practice delayed gratification and invest with it. And a parent, it's never too late as a parent. You can invest at any time because you're starting the clock to be able to help your future self along the line.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great point. Everything about your future depends on the decisions you're making today. And so the compound interest of good decisions today is leading to great outcomes in the future that are multiples times, 10x, 5x, 20x, 100x better than if you just lived for only the moment.
Yeah.
And so these are lessons, like you said, are just going to really compound for the kid or the teenager learning to make decisions based on the long run. Like should I start this club at high school? Should I put in that extra work for this test I'm studying for? Should I apply for that job or start that business? Like all these decisions, there's a great book on this, The Compound Effect. The compound effect of every decision you make is magnified over time. And so the rewards and the benefits are tremendous. And it's just, it's something that if you want to be a great parent, you're going to teach your kids the value of delaying their gratification a little bit.
You know, the best quote, I'll just say it out loud because it's not out yet, but the new book we're launching, Value Creation Kid, my favorite quote in the whole book, we're talking about math, okay, in the book and the education system. It's like everybody just jumps to trigonometry and algebra and calculus and geometry. It's like, well, how does that help you with taxes and monthly budgeting and like understanding debits and credits and checkbooks? Okay. So we make a case for education should start very, very practical, life skills based, very practical skills based, and then you can go into the more complex as you go. But the quote that I love the most in our section is this: calculating the future value of your decisions today is the best math that anybody could ever learn.
So true.
Calculating what's going to happen in the future based on what I'm going to do right now and the actual benefits. So I can know that in my mind that the future benefit is this if I do this today. That's the best math you could ever think of. And I think that's the core math of investing, right? That's the core math of saying, here's what I want in the future. And here's what I'd like to do for my future. And I don't want to limit that future me, right? I want future me to be very thankful to me today.
Right.
Based on the decisions I did to help him.
Well, it's like it's like what you're saying, teaching your kids to exercise and eat healthy and work out. Like they go do one workout and they look in the mirror and they're like, wait a second, like I didn't change my body already. But if they worked out and were consistently eating healthy for 6 months, the compound interest, the compound effect of all those decisions and those efforts, wow, would be a complete transformation. But you don't see it right away. And I think that's the hard thing is we're in a generation of kids that can see instant results. Like you click a button and things are instant. So the patience is something that is not ingrained naturally in their lifestyle. So this is just a critical lesson that we could teach kids, that think about your future self, think about what your future life should look like, what you want in the future, and start planting those seeds today and making decisions today that maybe you can't see the results right away,
Yep.
but eventually you will, and they'll be tremendously greater than if you made decisions based on the moment.
A great dinner question. What investments are you making today for your future self?
I like that.
That's not just money. That's everything.
Right.
Studies, schoolwork, sports, your friends, everything. What investments are you making today to help your future self? That's one of the best conversation starters that we can come up with for you guys right now.
I like that.
We have all the quotes, right? Like time in the market is better than timing the market. You know, live like no one else today so that you can live like no one else tomorrow. I love Brian Buffini. I don't know if you heard this, Brian Buffini. He's a big real estate podcast. He said one thing. He's like, my investments are like clones of me that wake up and shave in the mirror every morning and go to work for me.
That's
He's
good.
like, when I wake up in the morning and I shave in front of the mirror, there's 4 me's there. One of them's real estate Brian, and he's off making money in real estate. One of them's stock Brian. He's making money in a diversified portfolio. The other one's startup Brian. He's working on his businesses. He's growing value and maybe helping out other people that he knows closely to grow. And then there's me with my basic income, and I'm going to be going to work on doing my thing today. And he's like, and my goal is to clone myself 3 or 4 more times so that an army of Brians are waking up to shave every morning to create value for my future, right? Like
that's cool.
That is a great mentality to have as a parent. And those are the kinds of things that kids are watching. You know, your kids are going to tend toward instant gratification if you don't stop them, right? Amazon Prime, social media, the attention span of a gnat, right? Like they will slide towards instant everything unless
DoorDash, you know,
the list just goes on and on and on. Every unicorn being built right now is trying to make your life more frictionless, more easy,
faster. Everything's fast.
Blow your money faster, right? Like That is why you have to practice delayed gratification with your kids and really have these conversations now.
Yeah, this is a great topic. I think we've really covered a lot today, but teaching your kids to really invest for their future is what matters. And I think it's you investing in their future as a parent to say, I'm going to make this a conversation topic. I'm going to actually have these moments where I'm teaching my kids. You need to invest in their future, and you need to help them invest in their own future. Money, financial, non-financial, it doesn't matter. Compound interest, compound growth, thinking about the long term. This is stuff that really is going to make your kids successful and help them be totally ready to just crush it when they leave the house.
And we've made mistakes. Like you and I are sitting here.
No doubt.
Very successful. You know, we've made thousands of decisions in investing over the last several decades, and we've made errors. We've lost,
of course,
a lot of money, but you have percentages. That's what a diversified portfolio means. You know, I have only certain percentages I can put into more risky opportunities, only a certain percentage to go into startup, only a certain percentage to go into the market and in real estate and diverse. That's why you do a diversified portfolio. You never want to bet the whole thing on black. That is a bad way to invest. There's a lot of people, because of instant gratification, it's called a get rich quick scheme, which never works, right? Those are tricks. Money is made over time as value is constantly created over time. That is how it works. That's a stable investment. That's how Warren Buffett became Warren Buffett. And so we have to make sure that we're practicing that mindset with our kids. An investment that promises to get you X, Y, Z in the next year and triple your money in 6 months, and you get 3 other friends to do this too, then, you know, those are pyramid schemes and get rich quick. That's not investing. That's actually gambling. That's the opposite.
It's true. It's true.
Gambling is where I bet and I'm making a risky, you don't realize how risky that bet is because you're not understanding long-term value. A diversified portfolio and really strict percentages of investing, that is not gambling. That is betting on yourself, and you're betting on an entire series of markets in the world that are going to help you. Okay. That is a sure thing. It's way better than putting it all in an account and letting it deflate over time.
Right.
And it's all sitting there. And then in one fell swoop, you can blow it all on a car or blow it all on some other depreciating asset. That's not what you want. Investing is actually the best bet in your future. Okay. That's what I want to make sure everybody understands, because you and I aren't perfect. We've had a lot of mistakes. I saw your post last week about this, or a few days ago. We've all made mistakes.
Yep.
But it's about staying consistent and disciplined to keep making these decisions, right? There's games in Gravy Stack about investing. We help kids learn about the market. They get to play against the firewolf over a 50-year period of how their investments grow. They learn about different investing types. They actually make their first few investments in the Gravy Stack bank, right? Like through bits of stock. We teach them investing, and that's a critical skill for anyone to learn, whether you're 70 years old listening to this or you're 12, okay? Or anybody in between. You can start the process now. You can. So, all right, man, I think we're good. If you guys want to ask us some questions, go to smartmoneyparenting.com, give us feedback, ask us a question you want us to talk about in the episode. Our goal is to come alongside you to help you create rockstar kids. And if you guys want to join the Gravy Stack community as well, this is what a lot of that content is for. We have a parent elite community that asks all these questions. We do workshops. We help give you content and topic starters for your kids. We're here for you. Thanks for following, subscribing, and sharing this with a friend who needs it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
It takes more than money if you want to succeed. You gotta know what to do with it. You gotta take the lead. You gotta give them confidence. You gotta make them smart. If your kids are gonna thrive, now's the time to start. Smart money.